Today, we're looking at some of the worst crimes committed by famous rappers. Among the breakout stars of 2021, Pooh Shiesty was having a massive year and even scored a #3 album on Billboard charts with his debut record, Shiesty Season. During a trip to Florida's The Landon Hotel in October 2020, Shiesty, real name Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr., was involved in a sneaker and drug deal that went all bad. During a period of negotiation over the price of the goods, tempers flared, and before long, Shiesty and two men in his entourage retrieved a gun and let off shots in their direction, catching one in the hip and the other in the posterior. Once they got a hold of the goods, Shiesty and co. sped off in his green McLaren, and from there, he fled the state via private jet. Unfortunately for the Memphis rapper, the assault and robbery took place in the shadow of a police station, and he was caught on camera during the altercation. While he was released shortly after that, June of 2021 saw Shiesty get into more gunplay during a performance at the famed King of Diamonds strip club in Miami, when someone grabbed $40K in cash from his pocket during his set. The Back in Blood rapper wasn't playing around, and when he was being ushered out by a security guard, Shiesty let off a single shot, catching the man in the ankle. In April of 2022, Pooh was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Before his tragic passing in Atlanta, King Von was no stranger to the streets. Believed to be the man behind the gun of at least 3 murders in his native Chicago, O-Block's most visible poster boy was known to target his neighborhood's arch nemesis on 63rd Street, otherwise known as Tookaville. However, none of his supposed crimes were as wild as the killing of Jakira K.I. Barnes. In the months leading up to the incident, Von repeatedly taunted and provoked her online after the death of his close friend. After she swore to exact and began targeting O-Block members, Von seized his opportunity during a barbecue that was being held to celebrate the lives of 63rd's fallen soldiers. He opened fire on over 20 people, killing Barnes in the process. While Von is widely known for his violent tendencies, his OTF label boss's hands aren't necessarily clean either. During a trip that took Lil Durk and Von to Atlanta, the two were involved in the shooting of Alexander Weatherspoon. After the pair dined at the Varsity in Atlanta, they got involved in an incident in which they not only attacked Weatherspoon and snatched his chain, but made off with $30,000 in cash. Making matters worse, they then stole his car, and while driving off, Durk leaned out the window and discharged a gun in his direction. Afterwards, the pair were charged with criminal attempt to commit murder, as well as aggravated assault, participation in criminal street gang activity, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of firearm by a convicted felon. Soon, Durk was released on $250,000 bond, and the charges have since been dropped. Before he became awakened, NLE Choppa was a young man that wasn't afraid to get himself into trouble. On one particularly notable occasion, Choppa attempted to get his car and watch back from a tow yard, and found himself charged with burglary, concealed firearms, and narcotics possession. Dressed in black mask, NLE, real name Bryson Potts, and 2 friends broke into the yard, but were caught scaling the fence by a security guard. After mounting their escape, they were apprehended by police and were found with a backpack in the car containing 7 grams of marijuana and 3.5 Xanax pills. As if that wasn't bad enough, every man was armed without holding a valid conceal and carry permit. After he was released, Choppa celebrated with a first day out freestyle. Arguably one of the most popular artists in the world today, NBA YoungBoy has had no shortage of legal woes during his life and career. A man that was seen as such a threat to society that the FBI famously led what was codenamed Operation Never Free Again. One of NBA YoungBoy's many cases came when he was recording a music video in his native Baton Rouge. Seeing many young men toting guns that were loaded with high-capacity magazines outside of their home, an older resident of the neighborhood called the police. In the process, YoungBoy and 16 others were hit with a variety of charges, including possession of a firearm by a felon and distribution and manufacturing of drugs. After he was placed on house arrest while awaiting trial, YoungBoy actively evaded court when he was scheduled to appear, and this led to a stakeout by the FBI. On March 22nd of 2021, YoungBoy was driving on the freeway when he was asked to pull over by federal agents. When he refused, it facilitated a high-speed chase between himself and the law, which eventually led to him taking off on foot. While he attempted to get away in skinny jeans and a heavy chain, the feds used K9 units, helicopters, and roadblocks to prevent him from escaping. YoungBoy attempted to lose his pursuers by cutting through a residential area, and video footage of him running across gardens was captured by a fan. Once caught, NBA was taken to jail and booked for federal firearm charges, only re-emerging 7 months later after posting over $1.5 million in bail.